Hello everyone, welcome back to Venkana English Guru. Friends, we had more than 80 classes on history of English literature. And in my previous classes where I spoke with regard to post-colonialism, post-modernism, and where we discussed, and from the beginning of post-modernism, the concept of English literature and has been classified in different aspects like American literature, African literature, Canadian literature, Indian writing in English, Australian literature, and etc. So, what I'm planning to talk about is the concept of postmodernism, how it actually created these classifications. And I'm planning to give you some basic introduction with regard to American literature and further maybe 5 to 6 classes on American literature later, uh, based on the concepts, based on the ideas. We may have 3 to 5 classes on and background to different literatures like African American, Indian writing in English like. So in this video we are going to have some basic idea about who are the writers and what is the literature of American, and where do you find this American literature, and what are the major important revolutionary writers, and what are the important revolutionary incidents that took place as a part of this American literature, and what is the role of Robert Frost or role of Walt Whitman, role of T.S. Eliot, and with regard to this American literature, and what are actually important periods of English literature, important periods of American literature. So this is what I'm going to talk in these videos. Maybe I may take for 5 to 7 important classes on this, the history of American literature, my friends. Just and get some idea. And due to some different other issues, I'm not going to come live for different sessions due to the hectic schedule of my office. Whenever I get time, definitely I'll be and weekly 3 days or 4 days I'll be uploading certain videos. And yesterday also I uploaded one of my videos on post structuralism, and there were 2 or 3 videos on post colonialism, and try to watch so that you will understand the basis for reading American literature or African literature or Indian writing English. What were the major reasons for the evolution of these literatures, where I spoke about in my previous videos. If you have not watched, you can watch. So, friends, when we talk about the concept of American literature, first we need to, as you know, because I have one particular style, because I usually go from simple to complex rather than directly talking about from complex areas. So when we talk about this American literature, and this American literature has evolved only because of different revolutions, different wars that took place in America. So the following divisions of American literary history recognize the importance of assigned by many literary historians. These are the 4 important words that gave a lot of importance for the classification of periods of American literature. So, a Revolutionary War, 1775 and 81. This is the major period where and in which America got independence in 1776. And that war, and it has a lot of impact on American literature, because during this period where you can find important writers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Herman Melville, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Margaret Fuller. So all these writers were greatly influenced during the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. Friends, and the concept of civil war, which is very, 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 very important. This is second independence to what actually happened. India got independence in 1947, but Indians recognized the importance of independence only after 1977. 1975, during the reign of Indira Gandhi, during the emergency, people of India recognized what is actually independence. Same thing, the people of America recognized the importance of independence only during the Civil War. They understood the importance of freedom, importance of human rights only after nearly 90 years. So this is a very, very important war that took place in American War, Civil War 1861 and 65, and where people considered this period American Renaissance, American Romanticism. So during my previous videos where we discussed what is Renaissance, what is Romanticism. I don't think you don't, and you have some idea about this Renaissance and Romanticism. Same ideas, same concepts that figure in American literature too. So, so we discussed point like Renaissance with regard to English literature, with regard to British literature. As a part of American literature, also we talk about Renaissance, we talk about Romanticism, but American Romanticism, American Renaissance, same ideas are same, but the ideas will take place, but after some certain years. That period is the Civil War. Next, World War One and World War Two. You know, World War One, 1914 and 18, and World War Two, 1939 and 45. So these are the four important wars that influenced, that helped historians to classify the periods of American literature. So you can see what are the major periods. You know, you remember the periods of English literature. The concept of English literature actually begins from 450 to 1066 Old English, 1066 to 1500 Middle English, 1500 to 1660 Renaissance, 1660 to 1798 or 85 Neoclassical, 1798 to 1832 Romantic, and 1832 to 1901 Victorian, 1901 to 14 and Edwardian, and 10 to 36 Georgian, and 14 to 39 modern, 39 to present postmodern with regard to English literature. But these are the periods with regard to history of American literature. Okay, only simply six important periods. And the first period, the colonial period, 1607, 1775. You don't find much literature that is written during this period, but slave narratives, and where, because once we read the question paper and you will get a lot of ideas. So the colonial period, 1607 and 1775, this period. But you don't find many writers during this period. And before in getting independent, America, which was declared independent before that, the colonial period. And usually literature is going to be religious or social or other issues. And early national period, this is very important, from 1775. This period is very, very important for us. And early national period, 1775 and 1865, 1607, 1775. The realistic period, the concept of realism. Friends, remember, this is the very important period, the early national period, because during this period you could find writers, the father of American literature, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and Herman Melville, and the first American feminist, Margaret Fuller. All those writers were so popular during this period, 1775 and 1865. This is the major important period, my friends, and which you need to read a lot. Next, realistic period, realism. What does it mean by realism? How realism influenced writers during this period? And this is the period, this is the age which is also called the age of Walt Whitman, and the popular writer of elegies, and during the 19th century. So 19th century literature of American literature, which is considered to be the age of Walt Whitman and the age of Ralph Waldo Emerson, and the naturalistic period, 1900 to 1914, like our Edwardian period, naturalism. So you need to know the basic concepts, like what does it mean by naturalism, what does it mean by realism. So once you are aware, then understanding this literature is so simple. Next, modern period, you know what actually happened in America and what actually influenced writers of America, and who were the popular writers, American literature. Modern period, where you could find one of the major important poets of all time, Robert Frost. And this is the age, 20th century, and you could find Ezra Pound, Wallace Stevens, and other writers like T.S. Eliot. And the modern period, 1914 to 39, and contemporary period, 1939 to present. So these are very simple six major important periods of American literature. Friends, you need to understand. Only the first one, which is somewhat and irrelevant, and the rest are very, very important for us. So these are the simple concepts. On every period, I'm going to take one simple class, maybe 20 to 30 minutes, not more than that. So that is going to be my simple discussion. And as you know, and because due to some different other constraints factors, I could not come on live. So because I cannot talk about that, and due to my official disturbances and other issues, I could not take up the class. But definitely, frankly speaking, I will make a lot of videos. I will definitely do and make these videos for you guys, and stay tuned and listen to the classes regularly so that you are benefited. And my first major important focus is on talking about giving you some background like what I gave you as a part of English literature. In the same way, I'm planning to give you basic knowledge with regard to American literature, African, Canadian, Indian. So once I do that, we'll go into other issues. Okay, guys, see you, and we'll talk about one of the periods in the next video.